the Financial G-Spot. I'm Robin Crane, and we're on the Whatever It Takes Network. So this show is all about getting real about your money. So focusing on the specific area that you need to focus on so you can have whatever you want in your life. You can have the freedom, you can have the security, you can have the relationship, all of that. So today I have a guest, Mari, on the line here. So Mari, thanks for joining me. Where are you? You're in
Colorado.
So you're in Colorado, and you have two teenagers, you told me earlier?
Yes, I have two teenagers. Absolutely.
Awesome. So what was your question? I think you had a specific challenge going on. Why don't you tell me what's going on and see what I can do to help you?
Okay. So my husband is actually quite a spender, which is aggravating. We're going from a lifestyle that was we're still coming from a nice lifestyle.
You have a nice house. Look at that. Looks really beautiful. Nice high ceilings.
It's a really nice house. It's a big house, but we came from another location that was more expensive, Hawaii, and so we're used to a different price range of living. So Colorado is a lot lower than it used to be. Say, an example. Sorry, I'm doing something.
That's okay.
In compared to Colorado is much cheaper than Hawaii by far.
Oh, you were in
Hawaii.
So our
cost of living is completely different than what it used to be. Granted, we're still making a lot of money for Colorado living, but we're making less than what we did in Hawaii. Well, The thing is that...
What do you guys do? Are you guys both working, or are you...
We're both working, yes.
And you have jobs, or you have your own business?
I have my own business, but I also am a teacher for one of the local districts here, and my husband works for the government.
And what's your business?
I do crafts, all natural pet treats, stuff like that.
Cool. Awesome. Okay. Carry on. Just curious.
So when we moved here, I guess he had never really gotten used to the change of the amount of money that we've lost. We've lost about another six-figure income. I used to have a retail store where we were at. So you had a six-figure income that I had coming in from there. He was making double-digit six figures in Hawaii, and then we come here. We're making six figures here, but we lost another six-figure to it.
So wait, you were making like $300,000, and now you're making closer to one, or you're closer to two?
Yeah, closer to one.
Closer to one. And the standard of living is a lot cheaper, but you're finding that it's not like a third cheaper.
It is significantly cheaper, but unfortunately, I think he's still in the lifestyle of still spending the kind of money that we used to make in Hawaii. So because of that, he seems to not understand the concept. He keeps saying, well, we're trying to save money. We're broke all the time. Sure, we're living paycheck to paycheck when you're spending gobs of money on, my daughter chuckled, on ridiculous items that we actually don't need. I mean, do we really need the RV or all the motorcycles and all the vehicles? I mean, we really don't actually need that if we're trying to cut down on costs. So unfortunately, it's caused a real strain in our relationship because he looks at it like he's blaming me for not being as successful as I was in Hawaii.
Wow.
But
there
isn't jobs out here that are six-figure jobs out here, or it's not as easy to open up a retail location out here as it was in Hawaii, at least for me.
Okay. Okay, great. Thank you. There's a lot going on there. So basically, there's resentment going on because you moved. Now, whose idea was it to move? Was that your idea or his or both?
Oh, no. It was his idea. We were doing fine in Hawaii. It was his idea because he thought, lower cost of living, you won't have to work. I'm still making six figures, which is significant for Colorado. But yet, spending, I think he increased his spending when he got here because things were so much cheaper. I mean, the cost of, say, our house is, we have a beautiful, large house and a golf course, but you couldn't get that in Hawaii unless you paid, buku dollars. But we lived in a golf course community in Hawaii, but...
So wait, let me ask you this. So when you were in Hawaii, let's backtrack a bit. When you were in Hawaii and you were making, three six figures, triple six figures, 300K, whatever you call it, were you having the same issues?
No, not really.
No.
Okay,
cool.
I had, at a couple of retail stores.
So why did you decide? So what I don't understand is that, so you said you decided to move to Colorado because you thought that you guys decided as a team, he thought, okay, that you'd have a better standard of living, mean a lower cost of living, and then you wouldn't have to work. That was the impetus for moving. Yes?
That was the reason why. Plus, he missed the seasons. We do love Colorado. We do enjoy it.
Okay.
But he missed being in the mainland. I think when you're on an island, you got island fever. So I think that was. I'm from Hawaii, so for me, it's home. But I think the fact that he was so motivated to move off island, he wasn't looking at it properly. Yes, the cost of living is significantly cheaper here in Colorado, but you can't spend what we did in Hawaii when we have, a third of the income.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, got it. So he thought it would be a great idea. You were cool with that. Then you moved to Colorado, and everything basically, like, that's when things started to get tough. So tell me, we're going to go to break in just a minute. So just give me a little piece of how you've dealt with it so far. So you're obviously upset about it. There's some resentment going on. How have you dealt with that, real quickly, and then we'll talk about it more after the break.
Working full time, something I didn't do. Working full time in an actual job, something I did not do in Hawaii.
Got it.
Cutting our costs down completely. Cable. Certain things that we don't, maybe not as many phone lines, or not, maybe not the NFL package, stuff like that. We've significantly cut down costs. We've decreased the car. We've done a lot.
So let me take you to a break, and we'll go more into that. So when we get back, again, you're watching the Financial G-Spot on the Whatever It Takes Network. When we get back, I want to talk more about the relationship and how you guys are dealing with that as a couple. Be right back. Welcome back. You're watching the Financial G-Spot on the Whatever It Takes Network. I'm Robin Crane. Quick plug for my book. If you haven't got it yet, go to Amazon. You can get Mind Over Money Management, Strategies Your Financial Advisor Won't Give You. And you'll get some of these strategies that I teach on the show, and even more, the stuff that I use with my private clients. You'll love it. It's actually a really fun book. I use my dolls, so you get to see the dolls and learn the money types. So go get that if you haven't already. It's a whopping $2.99 on Kindle right now. So I know anyone out there watching can make that happen in your life. All right, back to you. I just want to make sure people have that book. So Mari, okay, what I'm really curious about, because what's most important to me is that, if you're in a loving relationship, which it sounds like you are, you have 2 kids, you got a family, like things were going well in Hawaii, then all of a sudden you uprooted and went to Colorado, and now things are getting rough with your relationship. So what's most important to me is that your relationship stays intact, right? Tell your daughter this, right? She wants you guys to stay together, right? She can come in. She can come in the frame. Most important to me is that you guys can work this out. Now, secondarily, you want to make sure you still have money for things, right? But you have to figure out a way to communicate this to each other and work together to make it work. So what I want to know, that was a lot. So what I want to know is, once you started to, how long have you been in Colorado? Let's start there.
About 6 years.
Oh my gosh, okay. So the last 6 years, there's been tension in your relationship because of money?
It has. When we first got here, it was the honeymoon phase.
Okay.
We rented a house sight unseen. I was a little horrified at first, just because it was so significantly different from what we were living in. But that was okay. It ended up being very charming and cute.
Yeah.
Different. It was a whole different lifestyle, but charming. And but so it was a honeymoon phase, exploratory to Colorado. We still had a significant amount of money saved up in which to ride on for the next 2 years or so. Things started really getting rocky, I'd say, the last 2.5 years, roughly.
Okay. Now, have you gone into, I don't know, your daughter's there. Can I be candid here?
Sure, she knows.
Okay, cool. So did you guys go into, so you had savings.
Yeah.
And what was that savings for? Because you anticipated the move, or did you have to dip into your retirement, or what kind of, you just had
savings was just to keep ourselves on track, just to have, extra money for a rainy day if something should break down. Emergency fund.
That's awesome. So you actually, one out of probably a million of the people in the United States of good old America who actually had an emergency fund. Okay, that's cool. So it came in handy. Okay, so did you exhaust the emergency fund? Is there anything left?
No, there's nothing left.
Okay.
Because the amount of, I just think, bad mistakes and decisions that have been made along the way have decreased our funds significantly. When he got here, he wanted to buy an RV, he wanted to buy motorcycles, and we didn't have all of that. He had one motorcycle going for himself. We had got rid of that before we left. We didn't have an RV. You don't need one on an island. So he wanted to buy all these outdoor toys. Well, each and every single one of these toys are thousands upon thousands of dollars. An RV alone is expensive.
Of course. Okay, wait, hold on. Let me pause you there. So this started to happen, okay, whenever 2.5 years ago, 6 years ago, whatever, since you moved to Colorado, your husband started spending money. How did you deal with that? Meaning, did you say, honey, let's have a conversation? Or did you say, why do you always got to buy so much crap? Or did you say, let's have I want to know the dynamic between you in the last 2.5 years when the tension started to build, or even before that. How did you deal with that as far as your relationship goes, and how are you dealing with it now?
I've tried to be extremely supportive. I understand he wants to buy these items, and yes, to some degree, I guess we could afford it to some degree. But then it started getting to the point that he was resentful of the fact that I didn't make enough money to help
buy his
increase
toys,
our lifestyle, to help to buy more items.
Okay, so are you guys sitting down and having these conversations? Are you yelling? Are you having adult conversations about it?
Well, I do, but the problem is he gets all frantic and he's like, well, why did I even make money if I can't even spend it, if I can't even do what I want to it? And then he looks at it and go, well, I don't have all the things I want. He's a very narcissist person, so he's pretty selfish. He always was. But the problem is that it's, I try to be supportive. So over the years, I found myself stepping back more and more and going, okay, all right, I understand you want this. And it's kind of put us in a real big hole.
So now are you guys in debt?
Yeah, we're in debt now. We were before.
Okay, and how much debt do you have?
I'm sorry?
How much debt do you have?
Well, if you don't count house as a debt.
Yeah, let's
count. Or
count.
a car note as a debt, you're talking probably, I don't know, maybe $15,000, $20,000.
Okay.
Maybe less, maybe more.
He doesn't care that you guys have debt?
He does. He gets hysterical saying I'm not making enough money and I'm not doing everything I can.
All right, got it. Okay, so it sounds like there's a lot, what's mainly going on is this blame game, right? You're blaming him, he's blaming you. You're blaming him, he's spending too much money, he's blaming you for not making enough. So what has to happen is you guys got to backtrack. You have to have a conversation from scratch, like, honey, we have to get on the same page. Let's get aligned. I wrote down on my notes here, I'm writing a little post-it here, get aligned. So the biggest challenge is right now, you have to spend some time getting aligned with your goals and what you want now and in the future. So right now, you got to say, honey, let's set up a time. Let's set up a time to just manifest our dreams, or however you want to say it. Maybe that's too cheesy, but let's set up the time to really get clear on what we want together. I want to be with you. I love you. You start by complimenting. I think, you're amazing. I want you to be happy. So it's all about giving love, right? And then let's set up a time to go over our goals. Let's forget all the crap. So this is going to be a meeting where we set ground rules, okay? And the ground rules are no excuses, no blaming, and no judging. 3 rules. No excuses, no blaming, no judging. Can we agree to that, honey? I don't want to blame you. I don't want to be blamed. I don't want to make excuses. I don't want you to make, right? Do you think you can get him on the same page with that, to have a conversation with those rules in place?
All right. That sounds amazing.
Okay. It totally works, okay? But you got to get him to have, some buy-in, right? So you say, okay, let's have this thing. He says, okay, let's do it, right? You agree to that. You can literally put on a piece of paper in front of you guys both, or Post-its, no judging, no blaming, no excuses, no excuses, no blaming, no judging, however you want to write it so that you guys remember. Okay? So we have to go to a break in just a sec. So what I want to do when we come back is I want to give you some ground rules, how to have this meeting, and then how you guys can get on the same page first, so then you can backtrack to what we need to do together. Each of us take ownership and what each of us needs to do so that we can make those dreams come true. Again, you're watching the Financial G-Spot. We'll be back after the break. back. You're watching the Financial G-Spot on the Whatever It Takes Network. I'm Robin Crane here with Mari in Colorado, from Hawaii in Colorado. So Mari's having challenges. Really, I think it's a communication challenge. You know, it's when it comes to money, it's usually not about money, right? I mean, of course, the byproduct is that it's causing financial issues. But you're at a point, and I do have people come on the show where they're, $800,000 in debt. I mean, that's a financial issue, right? But it's really a behavioral issue. In that case, in her case, she wasn't in a relationship. It was a behavioral issue, right? So right now, it's the behaviors and your beliefs about each other and about your future and about what you want, what you don't want. So you guys have to start with communication, getting on the same page, getting aligned. Okay, so going back to this meeting. So you can call it a money date. You can call it a money meeting, whatever you want. I like to call it a money date, so it's a little bit more exciting. And I like to tell my clients to do something fun afterwards so that you guys want to do it again, right? I can tell you what he will like, but you got to do something you like as well. All right, something totally inappropriate. Okay, so the main thing is you guys both agree that let's meet and have this conversation. You both agree that you're going to follow these 3 rules: no excuses, no blaming, no judging. And then it's all about not about what's not working, it's all about what you want. That's what I would start with, what we want. So let's say, usually in my book I talk about how you have these weekly meetings, these weekly quick money dates where you only talk for 15 minutes. Because in an ideal world, it's a short amount of time, it's a finite amount of time, that no one's going to get upset with each other, and everybody can handle 15 minutes, and then you're done. So sometimes I have clients where it's just when they're going to go into the dream phase, and they're really on a roll, thinking about what they want, it might last longer than 15 minutes. So it's kind of up to you. But typically I have a different format for the 15-minute. But what I would say is no matter what, just don't let it go longer than a half an hour. Just schedule another time if you want more time. But you don't want this to be something you or you dread or that he dreads. Make sense? It's got to be fun. It's got to be kind of exciting for you guys, especially the first round. So then you just want to sit down and just say, let's get on the same page. Let's design what we want. Forget where we're at, because then we're going to have to look at that eventually and see how do we get from where we are to where we want to be. But let's just start with what do we want, okay? And then you guys both can just write that down. And just listen and accept, and no judging, right? No blaming, no excuses. So he says, I want 50 motorcycles and 4 RVs. And you're like, wow, honey, that sounds amazing. That sounds like it'd be a lot of fun for you. What would you do with all those motorcycles? I'd have a showcase and I'd have people come. Awesome. But, and just love on him, love on him, love on him. It doesn't mean you're going to make it happen, but you want to let him dream and do not stifle his dreams. Okay, I have a husband who is a big dreamer. He thinks very big. He wants everything. It's never this or that. It's always both. Okay, and I've done it because I'm more scarcity. I have been more scarcity-minded in the past. I've done it where I'm like, well, what about this? And, worry about that. And what about that? And he's like, just let me dream. Just let me dream. Okay. So you let him dream and you do the same. What do you want? For example, you might say, I don't want to work. And he's not allowed to say, but you have to work because we have to make more money so I can have my mopeds or whatever. Motorcycles. Right. He's not allowed to judge you either. So I would suggest he writes down your goals and you write down his, like you're doing a little survey here. So honey, what do you want? What do you want in the first year? This is great. What do you want in the next 3 to 5 years? Awesome. What do you want 10 years? Amazing, babe. That sounds awesome. That sounds really fun for you. Cool. Now you switch, right? And he goes, honey, what do you want? You're like, I want to have freedom and not work. He's like, all right, write that down. I want to go on vacation with the kiddos and take them to Disney World. Fine, whatever. He writes that down, okay? Then you can say, well, of these things, let's prioritize. So he might say, for example, he wants 50 motorcycles, right?
Right.
And then he also says, I want to retire at age 65. So what you guys now need to do, and you can do it on a second meeting because maybe you just capture the first time. If it takes 15 minutes, great. If it takes 20 minutes, fine. If it takes 30, good. If you're not done, stop at 30, come back to it. But then the next round, you want to say, okay, cool, if you don't have time, let's prioritize, right? So what of these things that you told me you want, like what's most important and what will at least keep you happy? Okay, well, I don't really need 50 motorcycles. Like one motorcycle would keep me happy. Like at a minimum. He might say he wants 50, but you say, just for me, so we can figure this out, at a minimum, like what would make you happy? And you start prioritizing, and then you star those things. Okay?
Right.
And you do that in each kind of section of time, like maybe 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, something around there. Whatever makes sense for you guys, because depending on your kid's age, it might be like broken up a little bit differently. And you do the same, okay? You prioritize your stuff. And then you got to see, well, then the next step, and maybe this is round 3 of your, a different meeting, or maybe it's the same depending on how much time and how you guys feel. The next step is like, how are we going to make this work? Let's think of options, okay? So he gets to say one option is you get your store back, and you have a store in Colorado. You might not like that option, and it might conflict with one of the things you want, which is not to work, right?
Right.
So, but then you can start having a conversation because he doesn't feel judged, because he doesn't feel blamed, and no one's making excuses here. He's going to start to just want to love on you back and be like, well, I want my babe. I want happy wife, happy life, right? So I want my honey to have what she wants, and he might say, okay, let's figure something out. I get it. I want you to not work, or I want you to work part-time, or I want to do this. Now you can start figuring out solutions, and you start with options, and then do you see how this is building?
Right.
I'm throwing a lot at you. You can watch this again. But this will work, okay? The second you start to judge, blame, or make excuses, then it's like you got to go start over. It's back to reset. Does that make sense to you?
Absolutely.
Okay. Do you feel like he would respond well to that?
I think he would. Yeah, I think it's kind of neat to say, okay, well, what do you want? And what are you looking at? I like that technique actually.
Because right now, most men, I mean, not just men, but a lot of times it is men, who feel like their wife is their mother sometimes, and like, it's always, you can't do this. And the more you say you can't do it, the more you want to do it, especially if you're a guy, anything like my husband. If your husband's like my guy, it's like you tell him you can't do it, he's like, yeah, right, I can do whatever I want, I can do anything, And it's not like I'm telling him you can't, but it's like anyone says you can't, he will absolutely disregard that and say, yes, you can, So it's just human nature. Someone says you can't do something, you want to do it. So when he feels heard and he feels like you really want, that you really want him to be able to meet his needs, you really want him to be able to like have what he wants, he's going to start saying, you know what, I don't really need that.
Right.
But let him say that. And when he finds that there's conflicting things like, I want to retire at 65, but we're also in debt, you say, well, what is your suggestion? He's like, go back to work. You're like, okay, I get it. That's one option. So help me figure out how to do that. Because right now I'm working and I don't know how to start a store and make the same amount of money. And there's also risk there. But It's like out of like curiosity, how we can make this work, not out of like, you suck, no, you suck, no, you suck, no, you suck. Right? Make sense?
Yes.
Awesome. So any last minute questions, I mean, you should go do that. And then I would suggest, I would love it, Mari, if you came back to the show after you had a few of these conversations. And you're going to, with every time you solve a problem, you'll have a new problem, right? So I'd love for you to go solve a problem, come back with a new problem, and tell me how that problem was solved and then how you need help in some other area.
Perfect.
Awesome. Any other questions you have?
I think I'm good. I think you solved them.
Yes, consider them solved. Consider your marriage saved. Well, thanks for joining me and finding time in your schedule. And again, you're watching, those of you out there watching the Financial G-Spot, this is a great episode for you if you're in a relationship, because everyone in a relationship will have these money issues come up here or there. And this is going to help you find your Financial G-Spot. So again, I'm Robin Crane here on the Whatever It Takes Network, and I will see you next time. Thanks again.
The Financial G-Spot is also available for download on iTunes and Stitcher. See the link in the description below.